Hey guys, welcome to Brockman's Prints. Today I'm going to be going over the support settings that I use in Bambu Lab as opposed to the default settings. I'm going to be utilizing a Deadpool mask for this video, and hopefully you guys can see this and use these settings yourself to save yourself time and materials when you guys are 3D printing. Okay guys, so I have two masks here on my Bambu Lab plates. For those of you that are using this mask or trying to print it and you don't know how to get it oriented the proper way, you can go ahead and check out these settings. As I was right here, the position settings. Just so it's it's really difficult when you're trying to just drag and drop it properly. It takes me a second, so just look at this right here and then you'll be good for that. So for these two helmets, I'm going to be using the red one for my custom support settings and using the white one for the default settings. And then at the end, we're going to slice it and let you guys see the difference between how much material and how much time is saved by using my settings. Okay, so first we're going to go into my custom support settings. So using the red Deadpool mask, when you go, instead of using the global option to affect all the build plates, you're just going to go to objects and select the item you're using. I changed the filament colors for this exact reason, so that way I know exactly which piece I'm using. So go ahead, click the one you're using, and all these on the bottom are only going to affect the object that you selected. So for my support settings, obviously I have my supports enabled. I'm using tree supports. The default style is always left the same. And then I have my threshold angle usually around 38, 39. Moving on, I have the build plate and support critical regions only checked off. On the build plate only means that supports aren't going to start. If you're making a print that has an overhang over a part of the print, then it will build the support off the print. I don't really like that because then it leaves a pattern on the print and it's just useless. You can save the look of it all, but it might cost you a little extra time, not in this print for instance, but instead of the object growing the support from the print, it will just start from the build plate itself and branch up to it eventually. So support critical regions only. This means it will only select the bare minimum parts of the print that need supports, which I use for this one because it happens to work out. However, for some prints, it needs more stability, and I don't think it just gets picked up in the slicer or whatever the case is. But certain prints I've had failed when I try to use that, so you gotta learn, you gotta experiment with it, and you'll figure out what type of prints will be eligible for that. The only other setting I mess with here is the top Z distance. Now the top Z distance is the distance between the top part of the support and the bottom part of your print. So you want it to be obviously making contact so that way it's held up, but you don't want it so close that it gets hard to pull off the supports. And I know for you guys who have been 3D printing for a while now, that have the supports that are annoying to take off, it's a pain. And I'm going to show you exactly how easy these supports come off when I print this one. Okay guys, and another tip to use is the seam painting. So for that, it's basically allowing you to either add or delete parts of the print that would need supports. So you're basically telling the slicer, don't add supports here, or add supports here, and that's just on your own judgment usually. I don't really use it that often except when I'm making my cosplay mask. So you're gonna hit supports painting right here, or you can hit the L key. Go to the print, taking a second to load. So for the pen size, for this helmet, I just max it out to 8. So this little circle you see here, that's the pen size. Highlight overhang areas. This is what I meant before with the threshold angle. Down here, I have it at 38%. So I just make it match here. And then, as you guys can see, it highlights the whole percentage that you're choosing. So the more you go up, the more it gets highlighted. So this is just showing you, hey, everything here is at a 38-degree angle and below, or whatever the case may be. So now that that's there, I just use the circle, and you're gonna either hit the left trigger on your mouse, the left trigger, whatever, to add supports, and then you're gonna use the right one to subtract them. So I already did it here, but you're just gonna right click it and then draw on the print until you fill this little circle area here. I don't really get too much into this side, and I definitely don't mess with these. And that's what I meant when I said it's up to your own judgment. Whenever you're making prints, make sure you have supports here, because this normally, not just for the mask, but for any print that starts on like a curve like that, it's gonna be just riding on the little middle part and building up, and right there it can get wobbly, and then it can mess up the print, and it sucks, especially if you're starting to print throughout the night. You're gonna wake up to a big mess. So better safe than sorry. Always have supports on the bottom layers that are automatically curved. So now that that's done, that is the last setting that I use for my custom settings. And for the other mask, we're going to just go ahead and verify. I'm going to enable supports, obviously, so it's not just overhanging. It'll fail just by default. I'll use treat auto because back then that's all I used for my prints. And then for the threshold angle, the default is usually around 25-27, so we'll leave that there. And we're not going to do build plate only. We're not going to do support critical regions only. And the top Z distance, we're going to leave it at 0.2, which is the default in this case as well. So I don't think when I slice it, you'll see the difference in the 0.2, just because that usually comes when you're printing it out and you actually see it. But I'll show you the result of mine momentarily. So now that both objects are set up with all the settings, you're just going to go ahead and drop down slice all, and we're going to see the difference in both of the settings. Okay guys, so these are the results of the slicing. The red is my custom one, and then the white is the default one. And just off the bat, the model size is the same, obviously. But looking at the supports, for mine, I'm only using 33 grams of support material, as opposed to the default 200 grams. Now, for those of you that don't realize how much that is, that's a fifth of a spool of filament, and which is ridiculous. And you're wasting that, and it's crazy because you're using 200 grams for the supports and only 218 for the mask itself. So you're almost using just as much for just to support the mask as you are with the mask. And that's just ridiculous. And that's with material alone. You're saving over 100 grams, over a fifth, well, just under a fifth of a roll of filament just on supports. And then just off time alone, mine is printed in 12 hours and 29 minutes as opposed to the default, which is 20 hours and 35 minutes. So you're saving a fifth of a roll of filament in 8 hours on print time. Trust me, these settings are amazing, and I will show you exactly how it looks right now. Okay guys, so the print is complete. Let's go ahead and pop this off the plate. Oh, you see? And just like that, the supports are off, and then it just peels off easily like that. The print came out amazing. Obviously for helmets, there's going to be this little spot in the top, but it doesn't affect anything. It's still sturdy, and the top looks amazing as well. Okay guys, thank you for watching this video. Please try this. Let me know how it works out for you. Also, let me know if there's anything new that I should try. I do sell my Deadpool mask on my Etsy. I'll have that link below. But thanks again for watching, guys. Have a good night.